Data is transforming virtually every aspect of government and the ability to deliver public services more effectively. Here to share some of the lessons public sector IT leaders are learning on how IT modernization helps agencies better manage, store, secure, and analyze their data to drive better government is Gulam Shakir, Chief Technology Officer at the National Archives and Records Administration. Gulam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Wyatt.
Let me start by asking, given the explosion of data from intelligent applications and infrastructure, what's your vision for leveraging that data to become a more data-driven agency?
Thank you for the question, Wyatt. Yeah, in the recent years, there has been a considerable explosion of data. And then with that explosion of the data, there is a built-in expectation that the data should be actionable, like not just the data being stored for archiving purposes, right? So one of the first things that we could do is improve our data management practices. That means we surface siloed data, we eliminate duplication, and then we give the ability to create new derived data using the original data, not by duplicating it anymore. So now once you have a sound data management practice, you set the stage for self-serving analytics. Here, I want to emphasize self-serving analytics to distinguish from the reports, right? The moment you get the report, it's outdated, but I'm talking about a drill down capability where you can view the data from various perspectives. And then with that drill down capability, you are able to start sharing your data, your dashboards, and kind of create a collaborative effort on data analytics. Now, the next part, once you have it, you have the data ready for analysis. Now you have to make the data actionable. I mean, here, we have sound practices of, creating a knowledge graph, a taxonomy to understand your data. And once the maturity of the data grows, you can look at building data sets and apply natural language processing and machine learning. And where the applications that you build, the insight is directly derived from your data, actually.
Next, maybe I'd like to explore what is your vision for managing, securing, and analyzing data that's increasingly taking shape at the edge of your agency's enterprise environment?
Yeah, when you have data at the edge, that means you're talking about data that is being accessed very frequently and it's highly sought after, right? So what you have to do is, if you have to manage it well, you have to make it highly available. Like one of the techniques that we use is we use content delivery network. And we are already doing that for our National Archives catalog application. Like if you go and look for the National Archive catalog, where all the records of the public government that are public, which could be made public, which are there, you could see, some of the data that's delivered comes through the content delivery networks. And then if you want the data to be on the edge, that means you have to also think about cost implications. So there is a lot of data that's sitting there that could be expensive. And then the data is requested in different formats. Like, for example, if it's an image, you don't want to create different thumbnail format or a photo frame format or things like that. What you do is you go with a IEEE standard or any kind of image standard where the images are automatically transformed on the fly so that you're not duplicating all that data on the edge of your network. Now we have to be very careful about, separating out the highly sought after data from least interesting data, so to speak. What you have to do is you have to separate them is kind of a challenge, but once you do that, you can put the least sought after data in a cold storage, and thereby what you can see is, you have a highly valuable data and a least sought after data. You kind of create a tier of where each kind of a data takes a different tier, and then that's how you can go about managing it. And when it comes to security, we have looked at role-based access control. And one of our concerns is, if the data is on the edge of the network, does it have PII? So we need a robust redaction mechanism that we are looking at, that we have to start looking and remove the PII that's there. And to cap it off, if you want to really analyze the data on the edge, it has to be, you need some elastic resources, like something that can scale up and down.
Certainly a complex situation at the
Yep,
very least.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, and then to add to that, how is the expected growth and distributed nature of digital workloads reshaping your agency's investment priorities around on-prem, hybrid, and public cloud environments?
That's a great question, Wyatt. Actually, the way I look at it, our reshaping of our investment priorities is basically to go for a solution that scales for us. Like, it could be starting off with a low impact SaaS, or a SaaS, and then platform as a service, or an infrastructure as a service. So it's hard for us to look at between on-prem hybrid, because we are just directly going to looking at solving the actual business problem. But if you want to specifically target on-prem, we are doing lots of digitization. You basically take things that are on paper, you scan them, you convert in the image, and then you have to transport them. So we have a lot of investments that we have to make in digitization and storing of those records temporarily, and then copying them and putting them in the cloud, where we can have the rest of the resources that come in that complete the picture. Now, if you look at it, there is lots of like data that's being generated in the cloud, and it kind of makes sense to keep it there, so that you don't want to like take things out of the cloud, or create lots of different copies. What we want at the end of the day is across the on-prem, hybrid, and the cloud, we just need a single pane of glass to manage our resources. And one of the ways we could do that is explore into container orchestration, so that we better manage our infrastructure.
And then last, and kind of the output of all this, if you will, is thinking about how digital transformation actually helps agencies navigate through various challenges, most notably the pandemic recently. What new plans are you considering to support remote workers and improve citizen services in light of what we've all been through?
Yeah, this pandemic has been certainly a wake-up call for, especially in terms of modernization, right? So right now with the pandemic, we have basically accelerated the pace of digitization like anything. For example, we are working on the release of 1950 census. Like it was just going to be a 1950 website where you can go search for people names like an amateur genealogist. But now, not only that, we have kind of focused on, okay, what else can we do to make that data available? So we are looking at making that whole 1950 census data available as a bulk data set in each of the major cloud providers. You can go download the whole thing and you can do your own analysis. Yes, there is website that is on the side. You can go look at it, but there is, if you want the raw data, you can free to download it and you can do whatever you want. And we are also enhancing the website to provide transcription tools so that people can easily search through some of the handwritten text. So those are the very interesting thing that's doing. We couldn't have done it, I think, in terms of the whole massive digitization. We are rethinking and just going beyond just creating a 1950 website, right? So, and also right now that was for citizen services. Now, what are we doing for remote workers? We are actually moving heavily from not relying on our VPN. We are looking at SaaS solutions. We already have some SaaS solutions, like, like we don't have to be logged on our VPN to check our email and everything, but we want the same experience for some of our homegrown applications. Now, the only way we could think of doing it is moving to a zero trust architecture. Some of the SaaS application that's there, where you can check your email from your smartphone, that's possible because there is a zero trust architecture already built into that email platform. Now, we need to replicate that. We need to invest in our own zero trust architecture so that not only we just access the email from anywhere, we can access any application from anywhere without relying on our VPN logging in, which has its own challenges around bandwidth and so on. So.
Well, and I can appreciate moving beyond the kind of the VPN constraints. It makes it easier for everybody that is employed there to be able to really gain fuller and faster access to the data they're all looking for. Well, Gulam, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your observations and your insights about what you're doing at the National Archives and Record Administration. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Wyatt.